Hi, my name is Brandon. I thought I would make this video because I saw a testimony online that was really helpful for me. Kind of embarrassing, but I deal with something that I've self-diagnosed with hyperhidrosis. It's something that I've dealt with for I guess since I hit puberty. I don't know. So I sweat an awful lot under my arms, almost constantly whenever I'm conscious. When I'm sleeping, it's not a problem. Early in the morning, it's not a problem. Late at night, it's not a problem. It's during the day. And growing up, that was really embarrassing because my shirt was always filled with sweat under my arms, so I was always wearing two shirts or a jacket even when it was hot. Really embarrassing thing to go through, but I guess it gave me humility, so it's not such a bad thing in the long run. At the time, it's terrible when you're dealing with it. I finally figured out that it was a problem that other people had when I looked it up online, and I started reading about surgeries and things like that, and when you're kind of desperate to change the problem that you're dealing with, even surgery that can be kind of drastic becomes kind of an option. And I was looking into it. In California, there's a doctor that was going to charge like $6,000, and they would go in and remove the sweat glands. That was pretty scary. $6,000 too. That's an awful lot of money. I also have friends in Korea, so when I went to visit them, I thought, well, hey, I hear surgery's cheaper here, so I went over there, and the surgeon there said that he would charge 1,500. It was crazy cheap, maybe 2,500. I don't know. It was way cheaper than what the American surgeon was going to charge. But what they would do is they would take a like what they do use for liposuction, and they would go under the first layer of skin. Oh, and they oh, it's so gross. And they go in and they would suck out all the layer because we have different layers of skin, right? And the layer that has all of the sweat glands, he'd go in and just suck everything out, and then literally the skin would be hanging down from my the underarm skin would be hanging down, and then you'd actually have to have a band to have it up for like a month to keep it up so that way it would heal to me instead of dangling down there. Really gross. I didn't have a month to spare, and I thought, well, I'm sure there's some other options out there besides surgery. And there were. I found out that my mom and my dad both dealt with hyperhidrosis when they were young, when they were in their teens. And my dad's pretty self-confident. He's a bodybuilder, so it didn't faze him all that much. But my mom, she said that she would wear jackets when she was even when it was super hot outside, she wore jackets. It really inhibits the type of clothing that you can wear. I'd see stuff in a store that my friends would have, and I'd be like, man, that'd be so nice to wear that. Can't do that. So I like grays, whites. The only color that really helped me like conceal that I was sweating so bad was black, the color black. And so I wear a lot of black. Luckily, people say I'm a winter, so the color is fine on me. But I'd wear a lot of black and black t-shirt, and then maybe like just some sort of loose second shirt, so that way it can hang if it's cold outside. So I really like winter and sweaters. You know, that really helps me with the problem. You become really self-conscious. You know, you don't want people to tickle you, because then they're like, oh, what's that? And that's just embarrassing. And then you gotta go, it's just sweat. It doesn't smell. It's just water. You know, like that. let's see. I have made through the years. I'm 29 right now. I've a lot of friends. I mean, I've met a number of people who I've seen that. Oh wow, you don't think to look at that, but then you're like, oh, I spot that person has the same problem. So you work up enough courage, and then you talk with them about it, and they're like, oh yeah, it kind of happens, and they're embarrassed too. But under their arm, some people sweat on their hands. I have a friend who's a doctor, and that's difficult because he's always shaking people's hands and he's touching people. So that's difficult. But he wipes his hands on his pants before he shakes someone's hands, and it's something that you can't even tell that he's doing until you know why he's doing what he's doing. So and then it helps him be able to manage that way. And then there's varying degrees of the condition as well. Some people sweat on their feet. Some people sweat on their face and their neck. Some people even sweat on their crotch. It's an embarrassing condition to have water pouring out of your body constantly throughout the day. I've noticed that, like I said, it starts about 10 o'clock in the morning, and it'll go until, at night. Because of this, if you have hyperhidrosis, make sure that you're drinking enough water. They say 8 glasses of water a day or whatever. Drink more. You do not want to have a dehydrated body because of this condition. The body apparently thinks that it's too hot. There's something in the synact. Oh, that's another surgery I read about, and that's scary. They go in with a thing. They go in right here, and through the rib cage, and they snip a nerve called the sympathetic, something like that, sympathetic nerve, on both sides, and that's the one that regulates your body heat. It snips the nerve. It's there. God put it there for a reason. don't snip it, just because something else is messed up. And that in 50% of the conditions, and 50% of the surgeries, then you get compensatory sweating on the chest and back, instead of under the arms, which is so not a good statistic against you. And yeah, okay, so that, sorry, I don't think linearly. I'm trying to jump around and hit everything I wanted to talk about. There was so in my, let's see, after my undergrad, I guess it was during my after my master's, I started pastoring. So as you can imagine, you're wearing a dress shirt, probably solid color, and you're sweating through your shirt, and you're in front of people, and you're trying to talk with people afterwards. It everyone's looking at you, and I've noticed that it's usually around social situations. I don't sweat when I'm around my family as much, sometimes not at all. So when I'm around people that I'm super comfortable with, I'm not sweating. But it's in any sort of situation, social situation, even when I'm around really good friends, I think it's some sort of we're combined, right? Physical, mental, spiritual. We're one body, but they're all interconnected. All the different elements of our every faction of our body. Anyway, so I think it's a socially triggered physical, mental issue thing that's going on when you have this sort of condition. At least it was for me. What was I saying? Oh, up front. So I actually found this company called Advantage, where I'm going to put all the links to everything I talk about in the description below. And it's they sell T-shirts that they sew these, like, it's kind of embarrassing. If you're watching this and you don't have hyperhidrosis, get off this video, please. It's embarrassing. No, I'm proud. Live proud. Who I am. They have these pads that they sew in underneath. This is inside out. They have the shirt and it's sewn in inside out. So it's just a cloth pad. On the back side, it has this, like, plastic material that then keeps it lets it absorb all the sweat, and then it can't get through to bleed onto your shirt. So really helpful. They run about 25, I think, $20. They're well worth it. I mean, this one, and I even put like the years. Oh, I didn't put a year on this one. But I buy like 3 a year, and I use them when I need to make sure that I'm protected. And so these shirts were a godsend, seriously, because then I can go like this when I'm preaching, and nobody sees nothing. So that's helpful. And so I suggest trying those out. They get a little bit, you got to get used to them a little bit, because you end up going like this now and then to readjust, you know. This was one of the biggest realizations, is that the deodorant I was using a deodorant that uses, what do you call it, aluminum chloride or some derivative of that chemical. And the aluminum is a antiperspirant. When you use antiperspirants, it's a anti-perspire, you know, so you don't perspire under your arms. But then it would, like, I'd have to get stronger and stronger and stronger antiperspirant with aluminum chloride, even up to certi-dry. That's like almost prescription strength. And that's pretty tough. I got a rash the first time I used certi-dry. I think I only used it twice. I didn't sweat. It was amazing. That whole day I was just like, wow. And I wore like some shirt that I normally couldn't wear that I had, you know, and I, you know, to myself I was just like, yeah, you know, one day. That night it was burning under my arms, and it hurt so bad, and I was like, no, this is gonna, you know, pain will, it's okay, you know, that, because it will help me. And I think I tried it the day after that too, and then after that I was like, no, this isn't good. Pain isn't. I was having a reaction to it, and so I actually have a red chemical rash, chemical burn under this arm, still, from that experiment, and that was, you know, it just kind of showed the length to which I was willing to go in order to get rid of this problem. And you know, it says, if causes rash, discontinue use. I was like, no, I've got to. So, you know, antiperspirant is one way that people with mild hyperhidrosis deal with it. Mine's too severe for that. And it's not that it smells. Regular deodorant works for the smell, you know, like normal BO, but the aluminum chloride, I've even heard it linked to, well, because the antiperspirant doesn't allow you to perspire, your body, when you sweat, you're trying to cool down and you're getting out poisons. And so if you're not letting the poisons get out through your body, through your underarms, through that sweating, then it collects. And if it collects, then it causes all sorts of problems. And in some people, and there's some people that have said that it then leads to breast cancer. Of course, I don't, you know, have. So I hear guys get cancer too, the pectorals, but anyway, wasn't part of what I was going to talk about. But let it sweat. If it needs to sweat, it needs to sweat. Unfortunately, if you have hyperhidrosis, it's really confused and it thinks it needs to sweat. So and I kind of wonder if my body, all those years from, you know, you start using deodorant in puberty, right when hyperhidrosis kicks in. So I'm wondering if my body, and most deodorant has aluminum chloride in it, if my body was just trying to get rid of the aluminum chloride all those years, and I was I kept putting it on and more stronger because I thought, oh, I gotta make the sweating stop. When in fact the sweating was trying to get rid of what I was putting on. I don't know. So what I did was I started experimenting with deodorants. And I got rid of aluminum chloride. I don't know why I have this. It was in my stuff, so I'll give it away if someone wants it. I'll throw it in the trash. There is this. The first natural one. Oh no, I'm deodorant, and then I'll tell you about that other one. So I'm not doing chronologically. This is a spray on 100% pure, natural, hypoallergenic, 24-hour protection, no harmful aluminums. Naturally fleshed deodorant crystal. So they use natural salts and they liquefy them somehow, and then it's in a spray bottle, and it supports breast cancer. So you spray it on your underarms, and the chemicals, the salts kill the stuff that would normally. They also have a salt bar that you wet and then you put on your arm. So that's one way to do it. You can try that. But the smell did come eventually. I'm actually using this today because I'm retrying it. It's been a few years, so maybe my body chemistry has changed. So that's pretty cool, pretty helpful. I hope that works. Then that's a smell, and then your body can actually get rid of stuff. After switching to natural deodorant, after about I don't know, like 2 months, something like that. My body stopped sweating as much as it used to, and that was amazing. And it wasn't like it just stopped immediately, like turning off a faucet. It was just like, oh hey, whoa, I'm kind of dry, and it really surprised me. And then there are different types of deodorant that you can get. I think both of these, yeah, Tom's of Maine and Trader Joe's version. Both of them are available at Trader Joe's or online. Tom's of Maine I bought online before, and then the unscented. You want to see this? Trader Joe's, that one, and then this one. These products I've appreciated, and I get the unscented because I'm not messing with any of these crazy chemical things. But they're natural, and this one uses cotton. I don't understand how there's cotton in it, but it says it's cotton in it, and it works for natural deodorant, pretty strong. 24-hour odor protection, it says here. So these two I recommend. This is what I use, and I switch off between the two because your body apparently adjusts to chemicals that you're using. Wow, this video is getting long. But it's okay if it's long, if it's helpful. And so what I was going to say before, there is a tea that I found online. Boy, I'll have to find the link. I don't remember the name of it. Some guy who was dealing with hyperhidrosis was like, I know stuff about herbs and stuff, so I'm going to figure out something that'll help me. So he developed these teas. They taste like herbal tea, like not the good kind, like just regular herbal tea without the sugar, you know? Kind of like, well, I got used to it. And so you drink this tea, it's about 50 cents a tea bag, and you drink it twice a day. And so I was making this tea and drinking it up. And after, it was like a week or two, huge reduction in my, it kind of righted my nervous system, and I stopped sweating there. Then I don't know if it was just my brain going all crazy or whatnot, but I felt like I was starting to sweat, like on my back and my crotch and my feet a little bit more than usual. I mean, I don't sweat usually there, but I just kind of, what is that sweat? Like I don't know. So I got kind of freaked out and I stopped using it. And then I feel like, I don't know, I think it did something permanent to my system, but I don't know for certain. You know, it's like one of those things, like, you weren't like, I'm not a scientist, so I didn't like test it out. But it used stuff like a type of wort, St. John's wort, and it used sage, and a number of other herbs that are known to mess with. I gotta go. No, mess with the circulatory system, circulatory, nervous system. I don't know. So he tried. It was an experiment, and if you want to drink tea twice a day, uh, sure. But this is what I've found out through the years as I've become more confident in who I am and in and not caring so much about this, like kind of going, listen, I'm telling myself this. Listen, it's part of me. I've got to live. I can't. I'm not gonna wear crazy, whatever clothing that will just. I've learned to manage it. And I'm just like, whatever. I've got bigger things to worry about than this. Kind of like people's life, like the problems they're dealing with. So let me help them. So that's a bit, someone's dealing with being addicted to whatever or some sort of relationships that's been destroyed between parent and kid or whatever, life crises. Teaching them about salvation and eternity and all these, eternity. I'm sweating. They're not the same in its importance. So kind of going whatever, and because it's a social instigated condition, I think for me, it came just suddenly one day. I was like, wait, yeah, why aren't I sweating right now? Whatever, and then kept going with it. So I'm 29. People say you grow out of it. My uncle, he's much older than I am, obviously. Well, I guess not. Anyway, he's dealt with it for all of his life still. It's not as big of a problem for him either, but maybe he came to that same sort of mental understanding. Like, it's not a big deal. I don't have the magic key for you, but this is my experience. This is my testimony about hyperhidrosis. But I want to tell you that there are other things you can do besides surgery. It's pretty drastic. Try out all these things, and they take months. So don't be like, oh, it didn't work yesterday. So and then try out these things. Boy, I can't think of anything else. Cotton, breathable. Take a shower at night so that way your pores can breathe when you're sleeping. I don't know. All right, ask me questions if you want, or private message me. Happy to answer them. Happy to help you out any way I can. God bless and bye.